So we have got a few people here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get started. Kind of the point to the webinar today is I wanted to go over TSS in general. Some of the settings within Word, some of the settings within Excel, going through some of the settings and things you can do with Tiger Designer. So yeah, I figured we'd dive into this. We've got a fairly small group today. So with that, feel free to ask questions. Lindsay's on here. She's going to help answer questions and go over some of the questions. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to speak up. We can go over that. Usually with a small group, we can kind of tailor this a little bit more towards what it is that you'd like to see. And so hopefully we can make this as valuable as possible for everybody. I am going to share my screen. And first things first, we're just going to dive into Microsoft Word. Word tends to be the one where most people get started with TSS. I really like Word just because it's a pretty standard program. Most people know how to use Word. And the great thing about TSS is it's got, for those of you that have used our embossers, you don't need a special software to use the embossers. You can print from pretty much anything. And that's one of the great things about the V Plus embossers is a lot of the embossers out there on the market today need some specific proprietary software to use them. V Plus embossers don't. If you want to print from Microsoft Office with Word and Excel, you can do that. If you want to print from Microsoft Paint, you can do that. Well, that was might have already had that open. If you want to print from basically anything, Lindsay prints from Illustrator on a regular basis. So the nice part about the V Plus embossers is they are true printers. They will print from anything. I know that Illustrator is pretty popular for the graphic design community. We've got an architect that I know of that uses CAD software. So today, though, we're going to go over the Tiger software suite. The great part about the Tiger software suite is it takes Word and Excel and what everybody is used to in Word and Excel and makes the translation process very easy. And basically does this by adding the Tiger ribbon to Word and Excel both. And this allows you to set up all of the features on or all of the settings that you would like for your translation. So that way that when you click the translate button, you get the braille that you're looking for. So starting off with that, I'm going to dive into profiles. Currently, I have Marco's profile selected here, but there is a drop-down menu for the profile. So we have default. I've got a couple, and you can select a profile and then hit open. And going through here, this first tab is the braille settings. And this is probably the most important tab for translating text to braille. So you're going to want to select, so this is the default language, which I have as English. We sell our embossers worldwide, so there are a ton of different languages that you can pick from. So I'm going to leave that with English. I'm going to select grade 2, but you can say grade 1 or grade 2 are the two most common. And with that, you can also customize the contraction tables. Right now I have that set up with demo, but we've got a couple different ones that by default, I think it's just all of them. So we can say all. You can create new tables or you can edit these. So if you have a student or somebody that's learning contractions and you want to turn some of them off for a specific reason, you can go in here and select the different contraction tables, or you can select individual contractions within that that you would like to turn off. And then when you select OK, it asks you what you want to save this as. And so um, no, you be strong. I'm just going to call it no UEB strong. Some of these are, we've turned off most of the UEB strong stuff. And so that now adds the modified contraction table into here. And if for some reason, let's say that this modified one, I wanted to delete it, you can delete that contraction table from your list. Or if I want to delete demo, I can also delete the demo to where now we have all contractions or no UEB strong. With that, we also have these other checkboxes that will kind of help. So we can turn off capitals if you'd like. We can turn off, or we can turn on jumbo braille, or you can preserve italics or bold. And so these are some of the settings. The nice part about this is I think this is under, yeah, this is under Marco's profile. So we can set up all of this stuff. Let's say that Marco wants Nemeth Math. We can save this. And then if we select, I'm going to say Doug's profile, open this. And Doug's profile is different. So we have, so this is grade 2, but Doug has his contractions turned off. So a lot of times people use profiles for a lot of different things. So maybe they have 2 students that are learning different at different rates, or you want to have a student that has grade 1 and another student that has grade 2. You can set up profiles for the student. Sometimes we've seen this to where people have set up different profiles for machines. So the second tab in here is ink settings. And so I guess in the chat, how many people have an embosser that has ink, or is a cut sheet embosser that they're using ink on to do that? Or I guess what embossers are you guys printing on? While you guys are chatting that, there's so we have the ink settings here, and so you can select no ink. No ink or interline original text is the 2 most common. If you select no ink is great if you have an embosser that doesn't have ink, because the translation will go a lot faster. But if you do have ink, or have a machine that you would like to print ink on, the interline, by selecting the interline text, then you have the drop down menus below that you can toggle through that will have different fonts, and then font size, and then where you would like the text position to be. So this is the ink settings on there. If we go up to the next tab, so this is the page layout. This is very similar to a standard print profile settings. And so this is going to do paper size, any margins that you want, and also paper orientation, and some of the printer settings as well. We'll dive into some of the printer settings here a little bit later in the demonstration, because there's some cool printer settings for tactile graphics. Within the next tab, which is document settings, this basically is how you want to have the different sections of the document translated. So whether you want the header to be translated or not, or if you want to remove the headers, or just not change the headers. Same thing goes for footers underneath that. And so these are your profile settings together. So we have the 4 tabs at the top: braille settings, ink settings, page layout, and document settings. So I'm going to go ahead and save these. And so now that we have the profile settings set up, this is just basic Word at this point. So you can go ahead and type, create the document however you'd like. I'm going to add some text here. Oops. And so the text can be as much as you want. I'm just going to type a quick sentence here, and then I'm going to click on the translate document in the Tiger menu. So this is under the translate section. So to get to these with just a keyboard settings, you can tab through the menu to get to the translate section, and then this is going to be the select the translate document button. And what this is going to do is it's going to prompt you to save the the file. And the reason it does this is if for some reason after we translate it, if we decide that we want to change something. Ooh, interesting. So if you want to change something, looks like it's having an issue with the contractions there. So let me select a different table here.
For the embosser question, we've got 2 spot dots, 2 Pix Blasters, 2 Columbias, and a Pro Max.
Oh, okay. So the spot dots are going to want the ink settings turned on. Delta or a Rogue is going to want that turned on as well. Columbia probably not. So if the embosser has the ability to print ink, ink is very nice to add. Let's see, translate document, save. And so this here, based off the way that I have my profile set up, the ink is, excuse me, within the braille. And if we go back to the Tiger menu, and under the translate section, select reload original document. This will go back to the pre-translated document. So if you, for some reason, wanted to change to a different profile, or let's see, so I just selected the Lloyd profile here. So we had grade 2 with all contractions. So if I want to switch that to grade 1, I can switch this to grade 1 and click apply, and then go back and retranslate the document again. And now we have grade 1. But let's say that let's say we have a document, we want to add some images to it. So I'm going to go back to reload original document. And since I have Bart Simpson here, I'm going to go to insert and pictures, line pictures, add a picture of Bart Simpson. Perfect. And then when we go to, so going back to the Tiger menu and going down to translate document. So this is translating the text again, but the image does not change much. And then we also had text here. which we could probably get rid of because the text is just a copyright. This photo is by an unknown author. So we could get rid of this if we wanted to. And then we're also going to get rid of the text with that as well. So now we have an image that has Bart Simpson on it, or we have a document that has the text Bart Simpson in text with braille. And we also have an image of Bart Simpson on here. So what I have done for demonstration purposes is have one of our printers set up as a print to file. So going to the file menu and selecting print. This is the rogue sheet that I have set up as print to file. So I'm going to select the print button, being that rogue sheet is selected to print, and this is going to go to my desktop. I'm just going to call this Bart. So I'm going to name the file Bart and select OK. So on the desktop, I'm going to find the BART.prn file and open that. This is going to open the file in Tiger Designer. And this will show you exactly what it prints like. So you don't necessarily need to print a file. You can print directly to the printer. I just have this set up as a print to file. Then that way that it's very similar to like a print preview. Being that it takes a little bit longer to print braille than it does to print ink, sometimes it's nice to not waste paper, and also make sure that you know exactly what you're going to get before you hit the print button. Now that we're in Tiger Designer, though, a couple things to notice. The braille on this is in blue, so braille dots are always blue, and we have Bart Simpson. In the settings, I had this set up to do patterns for colors. I like this setting to do patterns for colors. What we had noticed on this is if we traditionally we had different dot heights for different colors, and that was based off of a grayscale. So the darker the color, the higher the dot height. And the issue we ran into is if we go back to look at Bart Simpson here, Bart's got a red shirt, blue shorts, green skateboard, and yellow skin. And if we translate all of this to a black and white image, which is basically what the different dot heights is doing, it becomes very difficult to tell the difference between what color is his shirt or what color is his shorts. And to switch the setting back to the different dot heights for different colors, we can go back into the Tiger menu. And then if we go to the profile settings and open this, and this one is listed under the tab for page layout. And you want to select the button that says printer properties, and then go to the tab for Tiger and go down to the bottom and select more options. And in the more options, there is a apply patterns box. And so you can uncheck that box and click the apply button. And then go ahead and close out of it by clicking OK or selecting OK. And you can select OK, and we're going to save the profile. And then same document, but this is a printer setting, so we don't need to retranslate anything. So if we just go to File and Print, and we're going to just select the print button again. And this is, we're going to go to Bart, and we're going to say this is the desktop. I'm going to call this Bart 2, and select the save button. And so if any of you have been to the shows, we tend to print out a lot of cartoons. Cartoons tend to get some good reactions and uh, they tend to get attention. But the nice part about that is, so printing this out with like the Rogue or one of our cut sheet embossers is this file here. You could send this to your office ink printer and print the ink, and then load the ink paper into your embosser um, and print this out. And it will do the embossing on top of the ink, which makes a great color tactile graphic. If you are going to do that, there is a button in the Tiger menu. So if you select the Tiger menu and then in the print section of the Tiger menu, there is a button for hide braille. If you select that hide braille button, that will hide the braille. You want to hide all braille before you print it to your ink printer. And then show braille, click the show braille button to bring the braille back to print that to the embosser. And that button just toggles that back and forth to be able um, to print to the ink printer or not. And so we're going to go back to the desktop and we're going to open up Art 2. And so this will show you the difference between the different patterns. So we have Bart 1 on the left, which has the color pattern fill. And then we have Bart 2 on the right. And so you can notice here that the shirt and the shorts are very difficult to tell the difference in colors. Sometimes this is beneficial, but we found that the color patterns have been a game changer in tactile graphics, especially things for like bar charts or pie charts. Um, because sometimes if you have a pie chart that has red, blue, and green, but they're all the same contrast, um, it, the pie chart prints out if you do it just in the dot heights as basically a dot height 5 circle or a dot height 4 circle. And so it gets difficult. Whereas if you add the patterns, it's nice to differentiate between the colors. Also, we have a lot of different pattern libraries that you can choose from, and you can also create your own pattern libraries. Um, I have this one selected, which is one of them that we have. I like this pattern library the best. I think Lindsay, do you use the um, which pattern library do you use, Lindsay?
I use the VP7.
Okay, and I think mine's just called
That's,
default,
yeah.
right? And so a lot of the people at V Plus really like the VP7 library. It has it has patterns based off of the colors. So uh, blue is waves, red is bricks, um, and so a lot of the colors are tied to something that has a similar color to that. Um, I like the default pattern for some things, and I like the VP7 for other things. If you're working on color theory, I like the default pattern purely because if you know take Bart Simpson here for example, with Bart he has blue shorts, and blue is a horizontal line, and his skin color is yellow, and yellow is a vertical line. Um, and if you mix the yellow and blue like you would with normal colors, you get green. And so mixing horizontal and vertical gives you a square pattern, which is his skateboard. And so he has a green skateboard that has been shown by um, the the square pattern. Um, Similar to that, if you have, say, orange would be vertical lines with the red diagonal lines on it because that is the mixing of yellow and red. Um, but it's it's all personal preference. You can set up your own patterns. The VP7 is a great pattern library. Um, so um, yeah, that is the patterns. If we go back to Word, there's a couple things I want to cover in Word before we're done with Word. Let me go back to the chat real quick. Does anybody Does anybody here type in Braille? Or can anybody type on like a Braille note taker? Yes. Okay. So Tina, I think I remember this from one of the other. Uh, okay. So sometimes yes. Perfect. So so I cannot type in Braille. But if you do want to type in Braille, one of the tools we have is the QuickPaw tool. The QuickPaw tool, you're able to use this in any program on Windows. And so we've got a link to that in the Tiger menu under the Help section, and it's just a QuickPaw button. Um, and this will open QuickPaw, and you can select what type of uh, entry you want to use. And so I'm going to say English. And as soon as you select the Enable button, I'm just going to move this off to the side here. And you want to go to the Home menu and select Braille 36 with a 36-point font. And then using your home row by typing with the keys on the home row, just like you would on a Braille note taker, it will um, it will type Braille. I have no idea what I'm typing here, but it does work pretty well. I know that Lindsay has used this on Illustrator because Illustrator does not have a translate feature built into it. I have it works. It literally works everywhere. So let me.
And you can do 8 key with that as well, right?
Yes, you can do 8 key with that as well. Let me. Out. I may have closed it. Hold on. Oh, I've switched the font. So it needs to be Braille 36. So, I've got the quick bond. Hold on. Let me disable that first, then I can actually type in Braille 36. Okay. And then if we re-enable this. And switch it back to calibrate. It was hanging up on me here. Go to the Tiger menu. We're going to open QuickPaw. Enable your home. Make sure this is Braille 36. Braille 36, and we want 36-point font. And yeah, you can type in Braille by having combinations of the keys. And then when you want to stop, you can just go back to QuickPaw. Don't know where I put it, so I'm just going to select QuickPaw from the menu again. Go ahead and disable that. So as far as Word, oh, and the other thing too, if you would like to show the difference between ASCII or Braille dots, in the Tiger menu under the display section, you can select the button that says either show Braille dots or show ASCII. And actually, before we get out of Word, one thing I've noticed is sometimes, I guess one of the big questions we get is sometimes the Braille won't get translated correctly. Well, it'll get translated correctly, but the format will be broken. So I would like to advise, please stay away from text boxes. So uh, I'm just going to insert a text box here. Braille takes up a lot more space than the text does. Um, so with that, if I'm going to take this text box. I'm going to just copy and paste this a couple times so that way uh, that way we've got some text here. And then if I go back to the Tiger menu and select Translate Document again, that's going to ask us to save it. So I see this as top 2. Save. And a lot of times, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But a lot of times the Braille doesn't fit. Oh, actually, it did work that time. But a lot of times the Braille will not fit in the box, and so it just doesn't turn out right. So when you're typing, so the ink here, um, the ink here is not lined up with the Braille, and so the text boxes break the document. So if I go back to reload document, um, I'm going to take this text. It's going to be exactly the same. I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to delete the text box. Let's paste this. So we have the quick brown fox jumped over the fence again. I'm going to go to the Tiger menu and we're going to translate the document. And so on this one here, we have the Braille and the text. It just the translation process, because Braille doesn't fit into the confined spaces sometimes of text boxes, can cause some issues with that. So if you have a document that has text boxes, best way to solve any frustrations you're having is just take the text out of the text box. Um, with that, let's jump back into Tiger Designer. I love Tiger Designer because I like to get started with Word, um, and then with that, I usually like to make changes. So if Tiger Designer seems really easy to me to be able to make changes, I'm going to close out this other part or just this one.
We have a question. Where will I be able to access a recording?
So we're recording these. I'm probably going to post these to YouTube. Do you have, is there something specific you'd like to see or see again?
And Destiny asks, I might have missed this, but is there a setting to translate the document into contracted Braille?
Perfect. Good question. So, um, so if we go back to Word, um, and I'm going to select blank document. So within the Tiger menu, um, the profile settings is where you set the contraction. So um, if I open the profile, I have mine set to grade 1. I can just select grade 2 and hit save, and then anything. Let's do the quick Fox, and I'm going to select translate document again, save. And so this will be in grade 2 Braille now. Um, so all of that, all of your Braille settings of how you would like it to be contracted is in the profile settings in the Tiger menu.
Michael has to go to a meeting. That's why he wants to know where to access the
Perfect.
recording.
Awesome. So yes, Michael, we'll have the recording posted to YouTube here before too long. Also, so as far as editing tactographics or documents, um, I I grew up using Microsoft Paint, which is a kind of a simple graphic editing tool. Tiger Center works a lot like Microsoft Paint. So if you've used Microsoft Paint, there's a lot of similarities there. Um, we're just going to start on the left-hand side of the menu, and we're going to go through each one of these and kind of the purpose that we have behind that. So the we have different dot heights are these 8 different boxes here. Um, and so our embossers will do up to 8 different dot heights. Blue is braille, so that's dot height 8. And then we have dot height 7 through dot height 0 being how tall of a dot height you want. So one of these will always be selected as you're using any of the tools to the right of that. So if we want to select dot height 5, and then to the right of the dot height selector, we have the pen tool. It looks just like a pencil. Um, and so as far as drawing goes, you can just click and you can draw whatever it is that you want to draw. Now it will draw that with the pencil in that dot height. Kind of standard keyboard shortcuts. You can, I just drew a bunch of squigglies here. If you want to Control Z, which is undo, you can undo those changes. The next setting to the right of that is the brush. Very similar to the pencil tool, but it is um, a wider coloring tool. So the brush is great. Sometimes if you need to color something in. Again, I'm just going to Control Z. One of the other ones that I like to use is the line drawing tool. And so I'm going to select the line draw tool just to the right of the brush, and I'm going to do dot height 7. And we're going to pick something funny here. So I'm going to just draw off of his hair, just a line by selecting, uh, clicking, dragging, and then letting up on the clicking of the mouse. And so we're going to have a line here. And then I'm actually going to go back to the Braille label, which is for this right tool. And you can just select where you would like to start typing. I'm just going to call this hair. And click OK. And so we can create labels for the tactographic um, by drawing lines and then adding Braille to that. With that, we also have the draw rectangle tool just to the right of the draw line tool. This is a hollow rectangle, so you can just click and drag same way as the line tool. We also have a filled rectangle to the right of that. So same thing, click and drag to do a filled rectangle. And with any of these, as you're making the shapes, if you hold down Shift, as you're clicking and dragging, it will turn it into a square. Um, we also have the ellipse tool or the oval tool that is either hollow or filled to the right of that. And then we have the flood fill. Flood fill is kind of fun because it's like the paint bucket, but it will fill that with whatever pattern you have selected or whatever dot height you have selected. So this rectangle that I've drawn, I'm going to select dot height 2. We're going to fill that pattern or fill that rectangle with a dot height 2 pattern. I'm going to Control Z to take that pattern away because the next one we have in here is pattern fill. And this has all of the different patterns that that have a, this is all the different patterns that come by default. And so I think excitement, this is kind of the red pattern. So I'm gonna say, okay, it's very similar to the paint bucket for uh, the flood fill. You can select this and this will fill that box in with different patterns. And then the last tool we have on here is the select rectangle. And so this is between the pattern fill and the braille label button. And so you can select different parts of this. And so I'm going to select the signature down here because it's not really part of the graphic and it's confusing. So you can just control X for cut. That will take it away. Let's say that for some reason you had it, but it was in the wrong spot and you want to move it. So I'm just going to control V for paste, and then you can select that and move that to wherever you want on the page. Let's say that this was this was a title or something like that that needed to be at the top of the page. You can move that to a different spot on the page. I'm just going to Control Z again to get rid of that because I don't really want that label on the bottom. It's confusing. So with Tagger Designer, you can take what is a simple tactile graphic and really kind of spruce it up and make it exactly what you're looking for. See, I think, oh, the other thing too, I wanted to go over, so in, thought it was under tools. Yeah, so in the menu, if you select the tools menu and then go down to pattern, and you can select pattern editor. So this is the pattern editor. And so right now I have just the default pattern on here. But each one of these patterns on the left-hand side, you can select the pattern on the left, and then just to the right of that, you can pick your dot height that you want to use, and you can edit that pattern, and it will show you a preview over here on the right-hand side of what that pattern would look like. So this is, and it will also show the colors that pattern represents. So this is the red pattern. If we wanted to change the red pattern, I could select a different dot height, and I could color this side in, and you can see the pattern changing over here in real time as we're changing the pattern. So if I wanted the red pattern to look like that, I could change the red pattern. I take this out because I kind of like the red pattern the way it was. With that, you can make new patterns. You can move them in order by selecting the new button, the remove button, or the up or down to change the order of the patterns. So the pattern editor tool is a lot of fun to play with. It's kind of one of those things, once you figure out the patterns that you like, you probably won't adjust it a whole lot though. Perfect. And I'm going to save this. And it looks like we've got about 15 minutes left. So I'm going to dive into Excel for the last few minutes here. Excel is very similar to Word because within Excel, we're going to open up a brand new blank document. Within Excel, we have the Tiger menu just like Word. So if we select the Tiger menu, you'll notice that the Tiger menu is very similar. So we have the patterns with the drop down for default. You can open that and make changes. Excel does not have as many settings as Word does. So you can select your language, your contraction level, page layout, and document settings. Very, very similar to Word. So you'll want to set up the profile settings for Excel as well. When using Excel, use Excel like you've always used Excel. We're gonna go ahead and make a quick. Let's make a pie chart. I'm gonna do pets here: dog, cat, fish, in cells in row 1 of A, B, and C, so we're say dogs, there's 5 dogs, so there's 3 cats, and somebody has a lot of fish, or say they have 11 fish. Um, with that, we can select the data that we have here. I'm going to go up to the Insert tab, and we're going to find the pie chart drop down, and I'm just going to do a 2D pie chart. And we're going to go ahead and insert a 2D pie chart into here. So this is going to be for pets. Change the title of the pie chart. I just remembered that the colors that we selected at one point, excuse me, at one point in the training, we changed it from pattern fill to just multi-dot height. So we're going to go ahead and just translate this with multi-dot height. I'm going to show you what I was talking about, how the pie chart becomes very difficult to read. And then we'll go ahead and change it back to the patterns to show the difference. So now that we have the pie chart created, I always move this over to a new tab. So I right-click, say Move Chart. I want to move this to a new sheet and select OK. So now that we have the data sheet and the chart sheet, we can go over to the Tiger menu, select Translate Document. And what this is going to do is it's going to translate the entire workbook by us selecting yes. And it's going to give us a couple different things. It's going to give us a braille chart, an ink chart, and the original chart. And then it's going to do the same for the data. It's going to give us a braille sheet, an ink sheet, and the original data. So we have, here's the original chart. We have the chart with braille on it. And then we also have the chart with ink on it. So if you're going to print this to an ink printer, you want to print the ink chart to the ink printer, select the braille chart, load the ink into a rogue sheet or a delta, and then print it out that way to where you can have the colored ink in braille. Same thing goes for the, if you want to print out the data, you want to print out the sheet in ink because the spacing on this one will match up with the braille sheet. So I'm going to go back to the braille. And I'm just gonna use a keyboard shortcut here, but I'm gonna Control P. And so this is going to print. And we're gonna select chart, hit save. So we're gonna get a Tiger Designer file on the desktop called chart. And you can see the pie chart because all of the colors are a very similar contrast. Basically is not functional. It's very difficult to tell what that pie chart is. So this is the reason we came up with the color color pattern fill. So let's go back into the the profile settings here. I'm going to open this and I'm going to go to the page layout tab. We're going to go to printer properties. And this is over in the Tiger menu. And we're going to go to more options. And just by checking the supply patterns, it's going to ask you in the dropdown what pattern you would like to use. This is the default. It's the only one I have installed on here right now. But if you had multiple patterns, you could select which pattern table you would like to use. And you can edit that pattern table from within Tiger Designer that we had just did the pattern editor on. So I'm going to select apply, and we're going to close out of all of this, save it. And again, keyboard shortcut, Control P. We're going to print this. And I'm going to call this chart 2. And we're going to save this file. So let's see, I'm going to open chart 1. And we're going to do the same as we did with Bart Simpson. We'll move this clear to the side. And then we're going to open chart 2. Move this over to the other side. So this is hopefully a pretty good representation of why the color pattern is so beneficial, because we didn't need to go in and try to make the chart or edit any of the dot heights or anything like that. It just automatically applied the patterns based off of the colors. Um, and based off of what we talked about earlier, the diagonal, the upward diagonal is red, and the vertical um, is yellow. So I know, just based off of this pattern, that this pie piece was orange. And so if we go back to the Excel, it shows that piece is orange. And so similar to colors, students start to understand that what each pattern means, and uh, can start having colors be beneficial. We've got a couple minutes left. I'd like to end with a couple questions. Is there any questions you guys have that you'd like to see covered, or anything I can answer in the last couple minutes here? Um, yes, the key can be made larger, but that's in Excel. Um, yes, it can be made larger. I don't know how to do that though. Let's see. I'm gonna curious. So we have, for those of you that have attended one of the webinars, I'm trying to make this more of a as beneficial as possible. So I'm gonna put up a poll here, and I basically I'd like to see what you guys want to hear about on the next one. Um, and so if you have um, anything you'd like training on, yeah, I'd love to hear what you would like next in 2 weeks, what you would like that training to be on. Jumbo Braille. Okay. I've had a couple of those before. Tiger Center importing images. Okay. Those are a couple good options. I don't, so Jumbo Braille probably won't take the whole training session. So we might do a combo next week where we can do a little bit more in depth on Tiger Designer in general, and then also do some of the features with like Jumbo Braille. Perfect. Any other questions before we wrap up the training today? Perfect. Well, thank you. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you guys here in a couple weeks.